Question 1 to 5 of paper 3 from your mock. Okay, so question 1 here says, write this number correct to 3 significant figures. The key word missing here is round, which is effectively what you're doing. You're going to round. So you're rounding a number, and rounding a number off means keep the number roughly the same, but then make it look slightly simpler to work with. So here we're talking about 3 significant figures. So that's the most significant figure, that's the next, and that's the next. And then we're saying we're going to round it off there. But it's got to be roughly 7,000. So the way we think about it is it's definitely going to be 7,300 and something. But then we say, can the 7 see over the wall to make it up to the 6? Yes, but that's not roughly the same size, so it's going to have to be 7,360. Next question is a calculator question. It says work out. Now all you have to do for this sort of question is write it exactly as it is in the question. So I'll try and show you what I'm doing. So far I've pressed the AB button, fractions button, and now I'll do square root of 17 plus 4. I'll use my squared button, and then underneath so this has happened. This is amazingly is 2 marks. Just write down everything on your display. Okay, on to question 2. Last year Joe paid £245 for her car insurance. This year she has to pay £883 for a car insurance. Work out the percentage increase. Well, job number 1, let's find out what the increase is. So let's do take away that. In fact, we'll do it on the calculator just to make sure that I get it right, because I'm remembering that better to make sure I've got some of the questions right than I've rushed through all of them and potentially got the ones that I know I can get right wrong. So that's 638 is the increase. That means 638 is out of, we always say that our 100% would be our first year. Okay, so that's it as a fraction, and to turn it into a percentage, just times by 100. So let's type that in. So my answer, if I just click divide, and we'll times that by 100 to turn it into a percentage. And it gives me 260.408. I'm going to leave it to accurate to 3 decimal places and just check, work out the percentage increase of that. Our answer is correct. So you get your marks for that, for 1 for the takeaway, process mark, 1 for the accuracy. And there must be another one. Oh, 1 for the dividing there. Process 1, process 2. And there's the 3rd mark. Okay, I won't give you where the marks are for the top 2 for question 1 because there doesn't seem an awful lot of point. Okay, on to this question 3. Now, most people are fairly good at this. There's just a few key mistakes that can be made on this. So firstly, I'm going to set up my instruction. It says complete the table of values for this. So there's my instruction. It says something squared plus something minus 4. Now I'm going to put my somethings in for the second one there, just to make sure. If I put negative 2 into this, my answer should be negative 2 as well. So let's put in there, use the negative button, negative 2, negative 2, my answer comes out as negative 2. So I know my instructions, I'm pretty sure that my instruction's right. In an exam I might even check it more than that amount of time. I might check it for each of the ones that are there, because I absolutely want to make sure that my instruction is correct and I'm getting full marks on this question. That was done pretty well by everybody, but I want it to be done perfectly. So there's my negative 3, just for speed this time though. I'm just going to do the ones with a gap in there. Now I'm expecting, this being a quadratic, I'm expecting there to be a reflection. So I'm not surprised when I get two answers the same. And look, there's a minus 2, minus 2, so it looks like there's symmetry there. So my guess is that that's going to be a 2. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, 2. And let's go back. I did it last time. Now that's potentially my 2 marks. Now it says on the grid, draw the graph of it. Well, this is a question that leads you through what you're doing, so let's have a look. And these all turn into coordinates. So there's my first coordinate. Minus 3, 2. Minus 3, 2. Minus 2, minus 2. And just be careful because the scales are unusual here. So in this case, it goes down 5 for 10. For that jump of 5, there's 10 divisions. So each one will be 2 rows down. So this is 2 and 4. And there we go. Next one, negative 4. So I'm going to go 8 down here. This one the same, 8 down. So I've done this one, and this one, and this one. Now I'm back up to 1, which will be negative 2, which is 4 down. 2, 2, so that's going to be 4 up. And then I've got the last one is 8 up, so goes, oh, not to there. 8 is significantly higher than that. 8 will be, so 5 and 3 more, which is 6 more on this unusual scale. So there we go, that's one of my marks. Now, whenever you're doing a graph like this, you will of course have values between each of them. So you'll have you could put minus 2.5 for example in there. So we do a smooth line because all the points will smoothly fit together. And I'm attempting to use my hand as a pivot to try and get a smooth curve going through here. I would always do this with the pencil in an exam, so you can rub out like I am. Of course, you're not allowed to use erasable pens like me. So that will be my 2 marks. 1 mark for points correct, 1 mark for smooth curve, 2, and I'll get the 2 for the top part as well. Now use the graph to estimate the solution of this graph. So it's the same instruction as above, but it's got a 0 on the end. So the only difference is this. Whenever you're estimating a solution, all you do is this. You read off your graph here and here. So there are two solutions, and you're only asked to estimate a solution. So I'm going to do this one. This comes through at 1.55, I'm going to call that. Somewhere between 1.5 and 1.6. Let's just double check. They say the answer's 1.6. So they can accept 1.56, but follow through from your graph. So my graph shows that that's where the answer is. So they will accept 1.55 for that. Moving onwards. Fran asks each of her 40 students how many books they bought last year. Chart shows information about the number of books bought by each of her 40 students. Work out the percentage of students who bought 20 or more books. So what I'm doing is I'm looking here. 20 or more is just this last bar. So this would be 2 out of 40 students. It tells me in the question. So, and I'm asked to turn it into a percentage. So again, to turn something from a decimal into a percentage, times by 100. So I'm going to use my fraction button. 2 divided by gives me 5%. Does that feel correct? Yeah, it feels about right. Not very much. That's quite a small percentage. Process number 1 is there, and an accuracy mark there as well, which means that I get 2 marks. On to question part B. Okay, so I have to show you these two together. Show that an estimate for the mean number of books bought is 9.5. So this is a show that question, and this time it's the estimate for the mean from this table, and that's what I'm expecting. Must show all your working. Now if it says show that, we know that we have to put in all the working. So let's have a look at what the working will be. So what we're going to assume is that this category is 2. Because it's an estimate. We don't know where this data is. These people who bought this number of books, they could all have bought no books, or they could all have bought 4 books, or any combination, as long as it's within 0 to 4. So we've got there 2. Here we've got 7. Here we've got 12, and halfway between these two is 17, halfway between these two is 22. So now I've made an assumption of what all this data is, because like I say, I don't know how many books there really are, but I'm going to say I'm going to assume it's 2 in the middle, and I'm going to times that by how many there are. In this case, it looks to be 11. And I'm going to also do 7 times 8 and 12 times 13 and 17 times 6 and 22, I've already said it would be times 2. So this will give me the total amount So I can now get rid of this section here. So I'm going to add all these together, which will give me a total for how many books, an estimated total for how many books there are. So I'm going to do 2 times 11 plus 7 times 8, etc. So that gives me a total of 380, which feels fairly reasonable given that there are 40 people buying books. And then of course, to work out the mean is the one where you share it by the total number of people, and the total number of people this time was 40. So I can then, my calculator, divide by 40, gives me, and then change. So something's clearly gone wrong there, because I've got a decimal answer, so let's type it in again. 380 divided by 40. 9.5. So I've shown that by totaling up my estimated values and then dividing that answer by the number of people, get 9.5. So I've answered the question. Get a quick scan of where the marks are. There's a mark for getting the midpoints, or any of the midpoints. For finding all the midpoints. So that's mark number 1. There's a mark for multiplying and getting the products. There is a mark for dividing that by 40, and then a communication mark for the full process. On to question 5. Okay. So, Lara's a skier. She completed a race in 1:54, and the race was 100. So let's have a look. So 1:45 was, so 175 metres was done in 1 minute 54. Lara assumes her average speed is the same for each race. Using this assumption, so there's the assumption, her average speed is the same for each race. Work out how long, so here's the question, work out how long Lara should take to complete a 700 metre race. Give your answer in minutes and seconds. So, I'm going to turn this 1 minute 54 into seconds. So that is 60 plus 54 is 114 seconds. And I'm going to work out her speed in metres per second. So speed is equal to distance over time. And the distance this time is, and so I'm going to divide that by 114. Actually, that's 4 1/6. That's 4 1/6 metre per second. So, if she's going the same speed for the second part of the journey, speed is going to be speed is equal to distance divided by time again. And the speed is 4 1/6. I'm not going to be scared of that number because my calculator can work it for me. The distance is going to be 700. And the time is a question mark. So I'm going to rearrange that. Undo divide by t to give me 700 is equal to 4 1/6 t, and then I'm going to divide through by my 4.4 1/6. So that gives me t is equal to 700 divided by 4 1/6, which I'm going to use my calculator to work out. So that is 700 divided by the, so it's alpha and equals for answer. Put it on the correct place. Alpha and equals gives me the answer. So it equals 168 seconds, because we've been working in seconds. Let's just check that we've done this. How long will Lara take to complete her race? Give your answer in minutes and seconds. 168, that's all in seconds. So that would be 120 plus an extra 48, which is, let's move this across slightly for you. So that's 120 is 2 minutes and 48 is 48 seconds. Let's just check for that for sense. That is a longer time than her original time for the shorter race, so it feels correct. And so the marks there are for mark number 1 for getting, there's different ways of doing that, but for basically getting the speed there, that's process number 1. Process number 2 is for getting your 168 seconds, and process number 3 is, answer. Mark number 3 is for the correct answer. Okay. Lara's average speed actually increases the further she goes. How does this affect your answer to part A? Well, if her speed is faster, then her time will be lower. Because it will be taking, it will take her less time to do the to cover that distance. So there we go, last mark.